We are back with part 2 of Hot Takes, Opinions about the Craft. If you did not listen to part 1 of this topic, please go back 1 episode, listen to that, and then come back here. Enjoy.
Other hot takes. We got friends.
I got feelings about patterns. Well, probably not as popular, if popular at all. I'm not, if I see someone who's publishing only on Ravelry and they don't publish anywhere else, like if they don't give me an option to go anywhere else, I probably won't buy that pattern.
That is a real hot take.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everybody on Ravelry that uses it. No, it's just, if I don't have to use that, I don't want to. Like, I would rather, like, if you have, like, and it's not a means of, like, I don't like Ravelry. It's more like, if you have your own website and it's just like, it's, you own it and you're using your own kind of, like, whatever setup, I would much rather give you more of my money than pay whatever fee that you might. I know that, like, if you don't have a certain amount of sales, they don't charge it. But if you are at that higher level of sales, there is a fee that they take. And why are we giving them that fee? Like, I don't need to. If you have your own website, I will gladly buy direct from your website. I mean, I don't, like, I use the projects on Ravelry, but I don't have to link them, like, to a pattern. Like, I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, I also think that I love that Ravelry is a thing, and I use it very frequently. At the same time, I think that it has not Ravelry, but I think, like, proliferation of digital patterns has made knitting a little less inclusive to older demographics, if that makes sense. People who are not comfortable using the internet have a much more limited pool,
or just don't have access.
Right.
Like,
much more limited pool of designs to choose from. And it, on one hand, it makes it way more accessible to people who use the internet, but those that don't, if you're only publishing online, it does make things a little bit harder, and it can be a little less inclusive. So multi-platforms is good. Having paper copies for sale is also good.
Yeah, I think honestly, and I saw this on someone's personal site where they offered the pattern, and then you could, like, purchase, like, this add-on where they would send you a printed copy, like, on a nice cardstock of the pattern.
Oh, that's nice.
Which I thought was nice, because, like, maybe you don't have a printer, maybe you like, whatever, you don't want to look at it on your phone. You, like, I feel like that having that option, like, eliminates that. You only can have this digitally. I think too, there's a lot of privilege for just sitting there and going, like, well, who doesn't have a printer and who doesn't have the internet? Because a lot of people don't. And it's, especially, I know when we were in, just the cost of it can be prohibitive, even internet just in itself. So
I'm not going to lie. Every pattern that I have ever printed, I don't have a home printer. I go to your house and I use your printer.
I am the community printer.
Or I'll use my work computer.
Dude, I used to do that all the time.
I totally
Especially,
still use my work computer.
Totally used to do. I
totally colored ink is expensive. And
we didn't have a working functional printer until we started Critical Hit. Yeah. Like, when we needed one, we're like, okay, we need to actually get a printer. But we didn't. And honestly, most of the patterns that I used on my phone, which is a pain in the neck.
It really is.
It is. Mine keeps turning off.
Mine keeps turning off. No, but it is. And honestly, when I go to Fiberfest or wherever, I love buying the paper patterns. Like, if they have them for sale, I like when you can buy them from the designer or the vendor straight. So it is nice to have that option.
Pro tip to pattern sellers.
Have paper copies.
Well, you don't have to have them. You could honestly you could take orders for them, though.
You could do that,
because if you do have that, I mean, if you're, if it gets to that point where you could sell a paper copy, I mean, obviously you would charge shipping and stuff if you're shipping it to somebody, but the shipping on that's not too crazy. I don't think like if somebody truly wants that printed copy, like, I think it should be an option. Now I'm going to go change my website.
One of our favorite yarn stores, if you buy the pattern from the store, they will send it to your Ravelry if you have a Ravelry, but they will also give you a paper copy. I like that.
I like Webb's too, because Webb's does that too.
Webb's does that too.
I've
never bought a pattern from Webb's.
I have. I bought a couple of printed patterns from them because they had this really cute cardigan that was up to a 7X, and I was like, yeah, I want that. I want that. So
7X, that's nice.
Yeah, no, it was like double extra small to 7X. It was like a huge range.
Well, there's so few patterns out there that are
truly
size inclusive.
When I find the name, I'll give it to you, and you can put it on the blog, because like it's honestly like there was 2 of them actually that I grabbed, and they were from the same designer. I haven't made them yet,
but I have them.
How many patterns I have not made yet that I have?
Well, talking about size inclusivity, I don't know if you guys know this as a pattern designer, but for the pattern designers out there, if you're going to say you're size inclusive, can you actually be size inclusive? So that what I mean by that is if you have like 10 inches of positive ease, that doesn't mean that your pattern goes up 10 more inches. Like, you're not like, if you're saying that there's 10 inches of positive ease, that means without the ease is the measurement that needs to be inclusive. And when we're talking inclusive, we're saying at the minimum 60 inches, but for a bust size. But it really should, if you can, go higher than that. And this isn't even about, I think a lot of people like to harp on this idea that it's about fat people. And I say that being a fat person. This is no insult of being fat. It's bodies. Like if you have a large bust and you have an incredibly small waist.
That happens.
Like if you don't have the option to kind of like tailor it to you, it's really hard to find a pattern that suits you, And I think it's important that when you're making something that is quote unquote size inclusive, that you're truly thinking about all the kind of options that might need to happen. I mean, obviously you don't need to figure out every little. Obviously, if somebody needs to make a really specific alteration, that is up to them, or maybe they can contact you, whatever. But it's not like things like the waist and the bust and, very standard measurements should have an option to kind of go in a certain way. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You don't have to make it size inclusive, but don't say it's size inclusive. Like it's okay. You only want to make it up to 40-inch bust, fine. But don't sit there and go, I make size inclusive patterns. You don't. I'm sorry, you don't.
I think one of the most frustrating, and I talked on my Instagram about having a breast reduction, but before I had a breast reduction and my bust was large, I would get super frustrated because I'd be looking for sweater patterns and I'm like, okay, this sweater is meant to be worn with 10 inches of positive ease. It's meant to be a nice oversized sweater, great. And it only goes up to 2 inches over my bust size. So I can knit this sweater, but it's not going to look like
everybody
the picture.
Else. Yep.
It's going to look like a skin tight sweater. Mm-hmm. And that's not the look I'm going for. And that is really, really frustrating. So if you're going to knit like you said, a sweater, especially one that's meant to have a lot of positive ease built into it, you need to make sure that there's that there's 10 inches of positive ease, if that's what you're saying, for all the sizes. Not just, okay, well, somebody with a 50-inch bust, it goes up to 60. So that person can get 10 inches of positive ease. But if you have a 56-inch bust,
you only get
the best you can hope for is 4 inches. Yeah, you need to keep that in mind. Ease is important.
Yeah, there's a huge reason why I haven't made a garment pattern. Because it's do it
tough.
Right,
yes.
It's like you really need to put
a lot.
The extra work into it to do all those adjustments. I follow a couple of different Instagram folks. In particular, there's a knit designer. Her handle on Instagram is JP Knits Things. I love following her, and this is why. She talks about how to size in patterns in 800 different ways. Like, I love hearing about all these nitty gritty nerdy details about like, this is how we adjust for shoulders. This is how we adjust for armpits. This is how we adjust for busts. This is like, and in a way that makes the pattern better. It's not something to like give you more work. It will literally make your pattern better. Like she cares about, not only are you making it up to the 60-inch bust, but it's going to look good on the person who's in a 60-inch bust. It's not just an oversized version of the extra small. It is actually adjusted in multiple places so that the person with the larger bust can actually look the same, like, or similar, just in a larger size.
You're not just like, okay, well, the gauge is this many stitches to the inch, so let's whack in 2 more inches and that's going to give you the right size.
Ta-da!
That's not how that's going to work. Like, it's not going to work. No, it's not. And that's the thing. You can tell when the designers put in the effort because you don't just see the increase in the bust. You see it in the shoulders. You see it in the waist. You see it everywhere. Like, and the pattern will say, like, for sizes this through this, you decrease here, for this through this, here. You can tell where the effort has been put in to actually grade the pattern and make sure that it's gonna suit different sizes instead of just being like, yeah, sure, throw in a couple extra inches in the bust and bam, it's gonna look good on everybody. It's not.
Yeah, no,
it's not.
Since I just brought up Instagram, I have another take of
Do
things.
tell.
Social media is a thing. Okay, I'm not going to say it's a good or a bad thing. It's just a thing. And some people like using it and some people don't like using it. And I really don't like the push for, well, if you don't have a social media presence, how are you going to sell anything? And I'm like, or how are you going to be like part of the knitting community, or like, I don't like that. I don't think it's important. This is coming from somebody that literally only has an Instagram account. I don't have a Facebook. I have a fake Facebook. Like, you can actually find me on Facebook because I had to put my freaking picture and my name because Facebook thought I was a fraud. But I have a fake account because my line of work requires me to do social media management for my clients. But other than that, and it actually says on the profile, don't add me. I won't add you back. This is a business account. But outside of that, like, I honestly just have the Instagram, and there has been many times, the cast can tell you, there's been many times that I'm like, I'm going to delete it.
Yeah.
This is it. I'm getting rid of it. And it honestly just comes from, for me, I find it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. And sometimes I just don't care. Like, I'm okay if I'm the last one to know about stuff. That's all right. At least everybody else can figure it out and then let me know if it's good or not.
Yeah. I'm actually the same way. Yeah. I've been handling the part of my stash Instagram, and in all honesty, 2 accounts is too much.
Yeah. No, honestly,
social media is a lot.
Yeah. I can feel that because when I was doing the part of my stash account, it's like you have, and it's not that you don't want to, like, obviously with part of my stash, I kind of prioritized it too, because it was like, these are messages or like comments from people that are listening in, but it drains you from wanting to do anything on your personal, because you're just like, no, I already answered like 17 messages. I'm good.
Yeah. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to do social media in general.
Yeah.
And feeling like there's an obligation to do it, to be part of the community, is just total bull.
Yeah.
You know what I've actually found pretty freeing in the last few months, because I'm actually right now I'm doing 3 Instagram accounts. 3. I have a personal account that I use for just pictures of my kid and only people I know. I have mine, and then I have Critical Hit. I run Critical Hits.
Oh, I thought you had like a
secret one that you didn't know about. Yes,
yeah,
no,
I did.
No, I have my personal one that I will not add people to unless I know them in real life.
I technically manage 4 without part of my stash. I was managing 5 with part of my stash.
Yeah.
That's just because my line of work.
It
but 2
is.
of them are mine. Like, one is, again, like that personal.
Right.
With
You're
my
the one
family,
with the kids and the
kids
people
in
you
it.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, one of the things that I've noticed a lot, and people saying, and I have been, let me be quite frank, I have been very fortunate that nobody has said this to me. Even if they were thinking it, nobody has said it. And, I think that's great. But a lot of people saying, like, this is supposed to be a crafting account. You should not be talking about other things.
I've gotten that.
And I was actually scrolling through my Instagram today out of boredom and looking at my pictures from the last few months. And I'm like, okay, landscape, forest. Oh, there's my shawl. Yep, that's the back of my kid's head. Okay, that's another view. And, there's the same shawl. And there's a mountain, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yeah,
I mean, that pretty much sums up your life.
It is.
Mountains,
Isn't it
child,
great? Isn't it freaking
shawls.
great? I love it. But here's the thing, like, I have not had a single person say anything to me, and maybe people have thought it. That's my living room, and I'm trying to imagine, and I'm sure people do it, but imagine going into somebody's house and saying, I really hate the way this looks, and I really don't want to talk about this right now, and you should cater your needs to serve me in your space.
Oh, there's so much I could say right now.
I'm sure you can.
There are people out there that will go into your living room and make those comments.
Of course there are.
They're not allowed in my house anymore.
But that's the thing. It's like posting things out of obligation that is your living room. It would be for you to change what you are posting, to change your Instagram or whatever, to try to suit everybody around you would be like decorating your living room to make somebody else happy. The people that choose to come to my social media page and interact with me, they get what they get. And if they don't like what they get, like they can choose to go elsewhere, and no hard feelings, the same way that I can choose to go elsewhere. And I don't mean that sarcastically. It's like if this isn't serving you, if this isn't entertaining you, unfollow. We've all done it. Every single one of us has unfollowed accounts that were like, this person isn't talking about stuff that interests me, or they said something that bothered me, and I've left. But I hate the idea that, well, you are a crafter, you should only do a crafting account.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't talk about things that are a part of your life or that have altered your life because that doesn't interest me. Well, it's not about you. This is my space.
You're also so much more than just a crafter.
Right. But that's the way that some people act. It's like, well, you haven't talked about knitting in so long. You haven't talked about this. I don't care that you're doing this other thing. I don't care about your family life. I don't care about your hardships. I don't care about your new hobby. Stick to crafting. And I'm so grateful that I personally have not experienced that, but I think it's garbage. It's like, this is my living room. You want to come into my living room, this is what you're going to get. Like,
you follow a ton of other living rooms.
You can go to someone else's living room if you don't. If the color of my walls offends you, you can go elsewhere.
If you're looking for a bunch of picture perfect flat lays with a bunch of sweaters and socks and shawls that are finished in beautiful colors and neatly knitted. I'm leaving that in. Yeah, don't go to my account.
Right. And there are tons of other people that do that. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I every so often, like, especially when I was test knitting, I would try to do like a really, really nice picture of the finished project.
Yes, because they kind of use it.
And sometimes I like to pose it and make it look real nice. But I mean, lately, if you look at my Instagram, half of my picture, like, here's my sweater, it's draped over the couch. Like, that's what you get.
Here's my thing on my pumpkin blanket with probably a cat sitting on it, and I'm not going to crop that out. So enjoy my cats.
What you got, okay?
Well, and I think it's more like life is messy.
And then every once in a while, I'm like, I'm going to put this on the table.
Life is messy, and people need to see that more often.
Right. And it's again, it is fine. It is totally fine if you are the person, if that is your artistic métier, that you like to make a layout and make everything look beautiful. I have to do it all the time with the yarns.
Yeah.
I do. I have to stay like, nobody wants to see a pile of yarn on a table. Like, ta-da!
I mean, I'll take that. Anyway, no, but to that point, if you're a business account, obviously different rules apply because your photos do matter and the content you do post matters because you are trying to make the sale at the end of the day. Like, you could,
here's this pile of crap.
Yeah.
On my pumpkin blanket next to my
pumpkin blanket. Here's my cat.
If it doesn't look like you care as a business, why should I?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I get that.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to an individual account or even I like to call it like a creator account.
Yeah.
So like if you're creating a podcast or you're creating your own knits, like you're not necessarily like selling your ready-mades or something like that. Yeah. Like I mean when I want to sell a pattern, same. I make it all pretty. I do the nice little lay.
You gotta gussy it up.
I want people to like the pattern. But no.
But if that's not your vibe, if that's not your jam, like you shouldn't feel obligated to have to do that.
Right.
Oh, I haven't posted in like a week. I'm like, I'm going to post a picture of Francis sitting on the porch looking all cute and happy. And I got like one comment. It was just like, I really needed this today. Thank you. And I was like, you know what?
That was
I
perfect.
made one person's day. That's all I care about.
That's all I want. So while I am very happy that you've never gotten any of those comments, unfortunately, I don't know what I did, but
had a lot more followers than I do. A lot. I don't have many followers.
I don't have a lot.
You have way more than I do.
Okay, yes, but like, I'm not like, I don't have like 500 that, like, it's nothing crazy.
No, but it is a thing where you get, the more followers you get, the more trolls you attract.
I think it's
true.
People like almost want to curate you. I don't know how to say it.
No, I've heard that.
I get like, I think the first time it happened to me was I was doing a reel. Heard this audio and I really liked it. And it was basically all these people were doing the idea was it was all these people like that covered their tattoos and then they would uncover their tattoos at the end to show how many they actually had. So it like looks like you don't, but then you do. And I really like that because I always, if I wear like a long sleeve shirt with a crew neck, you don't know I have tattoos.
Yeah.
Like unless you know me, you don't know I have tattoos. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. That's fun. So I did the reel. I got like at least, if I remember off the top of my head, it was at least like 5 or 6 messages of people going, unfollowing. I only want to see fiber art stuff. Like that had nothing to do with anything and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you just can scroll on past, friend. Like,
Also, do you need to
it was-
announce that you're leaving?
I know that was,
This is not the airport. No need to announce your departure.
also like, okay. Like, yeah, no, you don't need to announce that you're leaving.
No.
Honestly, it was the first message I got from you. I didn't even know you were there. Like, what do you want me to do?
So it's like I message you an apology. like
Like,
what?
I'm sorry. Anyways, but yeah, so it just like, it's odd. And I think sometimes when I get those kind of messages, I don't post for a while because it just annoys me because I'm just like, well, and then I'm like, and then I go through the phase of I'm going to delete my account and then everybody talks me out of it. and then I'm like, okay, I'll like post them. And then like I post a couple and like go from there. But it's like, I honestly, if there's random hiatuses from me, it's almost always because like someone sent me something either just like unnecessary or nasty, because I've gotten those too. And it's like, why? Like, what in the why? And
I'm real cool.
yeah.
Just like
I think one of the most egregious ones I ever saw was a knit blogger that I follow, and she had gone through some very devastating losses in her family over a very short period of time. And her posting slowed to a crawl. And when she was posting, she was reflecting a lot on the grief she was going through. At the time, I had not lost a parent, so I had not experienced that. You know, now in hindsight, I'm like, I can understand exactly how she was feeling, because when you go through a loss, any loss, it's your whole life for a while. Like, you can't get it out of your head. And I can totally understand why she was posting about it. And she did say, like, a lot of people were like, you know, you've changed and I don't come for this content, and I don't, you know, there's no crafting content on this blog anymore. And it's like, again, that's your living room. That's your life. This isn't a stage where you're performing for people. Mm-hmm. They're choosing to see you. And I think just, I can't imagine saying that to somebody. Like, you're not talking about stuff anymore that interests me. I don't care what you're going through. You need to entertain me.
Oh, on that note,
Can't with that.
if I just, to anybody who's ever like bugged me that I haven't released a pattern recently, every time you do that, I don't want to.
Wait, really? People
true.
Look, I was going to do it, but now that you have put that expectation on me, I'm not going to do it.
No, it's like,
dare
Well,
you
that's
ask
the
me
last
to do
thing
I mean,
wanna
are we
work
talking
on.
about saying, like, are you working on patterns, or why haven't you released a pattern?
no, why?
Oh,
Not
see,
are.
like the former, I'm like, that's
no,
nice.
I don't mind that. Yeah,
That's very
'Cause
nice.
Then I'll say like,
there's
yeah,
an
I'm-
interest.
I'm doing
Yeah.
this, and I'm because I am. There is a collection I am working on. I would love to get it out this fall, but honestly, there's a lot of stuff going on too. There's a lot going on in my life right now, so I don't know. But the idea is still there, and I still want to make it. It just might be next fall. Like, but I'm not holding myself to a deadline, because this is my creative process, and I'm not going to force myself to push through it just so that these folks can, you know, dance.
And as we said, if you're going to put out a pattern and you're going to do it right, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you can slap something together and throw it online, but that doesn't mean that it's going to come out
Work,
looking
time,
right.
testing,
Yeah.
pictures,
There's a
my God.
lot of effort that goes into pattern
Because
making.
part of that collection, like, they're essentially, I can say they're beanies, but they're super complicated. They're not like your standard, just like freaking stock net nothing. Like, They have a lot of parts. So just there you go.
Yeah,
you could run
so-
with that, folks. But like, yeah, I don't want to just like throw it out there and then everybody's like, oh, this sucks. Like, I'd rather like take the time, test it myself, like actually make them myself, make sure that it is easy enough to make in the way in my head that it works. And if it does, and other people can test it too, then yeah, and it gets tech edited. I want to do all those things. I don't want to just throw out a pattern.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's good.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure it's complete and ready to go and all
Yeah.
those things.
So, in conclusion, people are allowed to have preferences. Nobody's allowed to gatekeep. We would rather give money to people directly than have a third party take a cut. No yarn is morally superior to another. And social media is not important if you don't want it to be.
And also, it's our living room.
Is our living room.
Yep.
Yeah. No, don't tell me how to behave in my living room.
Yeah,
I like that, Meg.
I do too.
If you don't like my living room, there are other living rooms that you can go hang out in.
Yeah.
See ya.
This is my life. It's
Crash on a different couch.
messy
Yo.
and complicated.
Okay,
and
thanks, bye.
sometimes it's not perfect. Most of the time it's not. But also, good luck finding a perfect living room. Good luck finding your perfect living room.
Lord.
And that's all the time we have for this episode. For additional content and opportunities to connect with the cast, check out our website at pardonmystash.com. Be sure to tune in next time for more fun, friends, and fiber at Pardon My Stash.